Right now, turning to Taiwan again, where a large crowd is gathering outside the island's parliament to protest controversial reform bills that have been tabled by opposition legislators. And they are demanding for transparency in the legislative process as deliberations continue in the chamber. Well, demonstrators say that provisions in the proposed bill amendment may undermine President William Lai's government, as they can be used to probe and delay presidential decisions. Many of the protesters are backers of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or the DPP. The reforms are expected to provide lawmakers wider oversight over the government. Discussions resumed following a two-day hiatus triggered by Tuesday's mass protests and a recent parliamentary brawl that plunged the legislative chamber into chaos. And for more, Victoria Jen, she joins us live now from just outside the Legislative Yuan in Taipei. Well, Victoria, it looks like quite a bit of a crowd behind you. Give us the latest updates on the ground.
That's right. I'm right now standing outside Taiwan's parliament. And as you can see behind me, there are at least 30,000 protesters, according to the organizers. And many of them are young Taiwanese. And they're here because they want to protest against the legislative reform bills proposed by the opposition alliance formed by the KMT and Taiwan People's Party. Now, they said that they believe the bills are designed to give more power to the legislature, but at the same time to curtail the power that's given to Taiwan President William Lai. And so they said that is in violation with the democracy. And we are also seeing that they're holding placards saying that there is no discussion. If there's no discussion, there is no democracy, and that they are demanding the legislature to hold off on the passage of the bill in order to have the further reviews to have been conducted before further action should be taken. Now, there is speculation that they are trying to duplicate the success of the Sunflower Movement back in 2014. The movement involved tens of thousands of protesters, disrupted the legislative proceedings for weeks, and the dispute was over the KMT's plan to increase trade services with China. And the movement actually ultimately ended up forcing the KMT to drop the plan. So they're hoping to repeat that success. But the organizers said that this protest is going to be more peaceful and that they have no plans to storm the legislative chamber, but they are going to make sure that their voices are heard.
Oh, the voices of the protesters are certainly being heard. But Victoria, the proceedings inside the chamber, are we expecting anything to be like it was, in the last few days? And also, more importantly, do we expect the contentious bills to be passed?
Well, the legislative proceeding is still ongoing as we speak in the legislative chamber, and there may be still some wrangling and fighting among the lawmakers. But there is one thing is certain is that the opposition alliance, the KMT and the Taiwan People's Party, they are determined to pass the third reading of the legislation because despite the DPP's resistance, that together the two parties actually have the majority. So it's just a matter of time when they pass the bills. But right now we do not know whether it's going to be passed today or it's going to be passed next week, and that is still going to be closely watched. But what we do know is that once the bills are passed, the president is going to be required to address the parliament and answer questions raised by the lawmakers. The law also would allow officials to be jailed if they are found lying to the legislature. So this is definitely going to give a lot more power to the legislature over the government. And this is definitely going to make it very difficult for President William Lai to push through his policies, given the fact that he is already a minority president.
Right, and all eyes will certainly be on these contentious bills and whether they're being passed or not. Thank you so very much for that report. Victoria Jen speaking to us. to us from Taipei.